So, hello everyone. You are here with one more episode of Esports 101. Today, our guest is Vlad. He is the president of the International Esports Federation, with a career in traditional sports and esports. Vlad has played a major role in Spain International Esports Federation. Sorry, and today we are going to talk about his journey, his plan, how he's starting in the career. So thank you very much, Vlad, for accepting our invite. Our first question usually is the most common one. I did like a really poor introduction about yourself. Uh, can you tell a little bit to us who is Vlad?
Thank you, Marcelo, for the invitation. It's a pleasure always to talk and speak about this beautiful topic of esports that we all love so much. I am a person who loves the esports, who loves sports in general as well. My whole life I spent as an athlete, as a sport administrator, organizing big sporting events from the Judo World Championships, Olympic Games from Beijing to London, the World Combat Games, Mind Games, and so on. I really believe in the power of sports and the power of esports even more so to build bridges between the people. Let us have fun. Let us do something we love, something we enjoy, and most importantly, build friends and connections and prepare us for our life, our job environment, and of course, what we will do to contribute to society. So maybe a little bit more about me, let's say from the background side that maybe makes it interesting. As a sportsman, I'm 7 times American champion at karate. So I learned how to fight as a kid, and I really enjoy all the combat sports. I played water polo as well. And with esports, my first touch was playing, of course, Counter-Strike in the nighttime with my friends. After the school was finished in middle school, we would take to somebody's house all of the computers. I'm a little bit older, so in those days, the monitor was the size of probably what a desk is today. So we did a good physical training to install those. We had to learn how to prepare our router that we took from the school to configure it for the weekend. And we played from Friday after school till Monday before school. Lots of different weekends, which generally I think anything you do in life should teach you some benefits. And the benefit for me was to learn how to work without sleeping for several days.
This is the most common for people from our age. Basically, you did. I don't know where you're from. You are from US, right?
I'm born in Romania. I grew up in California, and now I live in Budapest, Hungary. Spending
Oh,
some years before that in Switzerland and in other places. I'm pretty international, kind of like how esports is or the community is. I find value and I appreciate every culture of the world. I enjoy studying it. And of course, I show respect to everybody.
right. I was telling that I don't know in US where you were born no, where in your teenage, but in Brazil it was like the normal process for kids in our age. You join the world of games in Counter Strike. Here it was like a big boom of LAN houses. I don't know if it's the same name, like a cafe that you can play with your friends. In Portuguese, it was like, do you know the animal O, like OWL? It was the name of
Yes.
the process in Brazil that what you said. You pay like, I don't know, 10 reais, and you join the LAN house at 10 p.m. and you left at 7 a.m. just playing the
Yeah.
whole night with your friends. Then it was like amazing times. And the
It's the
Vlad,
it's the best way that brings us together, and actually looking at technology, I think this is something that's missing today because we have such great technology in our phones and at home. And this part of socializing with esports is probably the most important thing to me. That's how you make friends. It's not just by meeting in a gaming environment. That's very part of it, but it's about sharing those moments and being physically together and talking about your problems in life and your girlfriend and what happened with this certain event on the weekend. It's so important to remember to come together in the LAN houses or the internet cafes or the gaming studios, whatever's the marketing word you use for it. In the old days, it became a thing because they had the best computers. Who could afford to buy a 5,000 euro computer and play from home? Today, I think as technology continues to, let's say, get more advanced, cheaper entry price for good stuff, we're going to be more motivated to stay away. But this is something we need to do. We need to go out. We need to meet at our friends' houses. We need to play together. And I think that this is something that is very important for us to remember that we're human. And with our passion for esports and our passion for gaming, work together, be mad at each other and scream at each other across the hallway when something happens, but also understand each other and respect each other.
I 100% agree. Like I don't know for you, but for me now, I don't have patience to play alone. For example, I have a lot of friends like younger than me. They just join the game alone. For me, gaming is part of a community. You have to understand other people. You have to play in team, communicate. Of course, sometimes you get angry, sometimes you get better, but
Yeah.
it's part of the process. You are learning with that. Vlad, before esports, you said that you have a journey in the traditional sporting industry, right? How that begins for you?
Well, I did sports my whole life. It was an important component of my life. I had no choice but to do sports because my father forced me with the whip since I was small. I think the first place I walked into was a dojo when I was small. So I've had that physical element, and with esports, I feel that to be human and to be strong, you need to also have the physical aspect in life. It's all about body, mind, and soul. And the more that you can socialize on an interactive activity like gaming, the more that you need to understand that this game also goes away from the technology. And it's okay. I don't know the age of who is probably listening or how, but in my day, there was a fight for the parents bringing us back in the house because we were outside playing football or playing whatever was the game or fighting behind the building. But this is an important part that formed who I became. And the traditional sport for me made me who I am today and what I believe and how I feel. The esports gave me the other side of the things, the yin and the yang. So I understand the value and respect and appreciate all the gamers of the world. And I believe that that cohesion of being able to study both, learn both, and excel in both will help you to be better in life because sport has always been a way that you prepare the tools in the people for the professional life, for their working environment, or for their job. The first sport is hunting, 5,000 years BC. Well,
Right.
why was hunting a sport 5,000 years BC? Because humans love to compete, we love to fight, we love to argue, we love to win, we love to lose. Sometimes we don't love to lose so much, but we learn how to bear with it. The sport of today, and following the question of is esport a sport, esport prepares the people for the jobs of the future and the jobs of today. So I think it's an essential element to game and to game responsibly. And that's why maybe we can try to also always push, and that's why we push in our world championships to have live events where people come together and outside of the game, they socialize, they swim together, they play basketball, they go on a walk around the venue. This element is so important for me because what you asked, I have been a sportman my whole life from the beginning. And that transitioned into organizing sport. So, actually being a sport administrator, understanding how the whole business model of sport works. How do you make a sporting event? How do you lay equipment down? How do you make field of play from the regional level to the Olympic level and everything in between? Then, how do you produce TV signal? How do you make a local event be a global event? How do you make profit? How do you support athletes? How do you give prize money? This is the most important thing. So with the esports, with the International Esports Federation, for us, it's so important that we provide this environment to support the national federations in every country to do their national events, the continental unions to run the continental events, and the international event, the World Championship, or the other big international events, always to provide a safe environment, to give the people a live entertainment activity, to provide to the fans something they can view and enjoy, to pay them prize money, to motivate them and reward them for what they're investing into their time of gaming, with the ultimate touch of being together, being a community, being friends, and understanding each other.
Right. And you said that you worked in a International Judo Federation, right? What
Yes,
are your main responsibilities there?
I was in the International Judo Federation and in judo for over 20 years, finishing my role there as Director General of the International Judo Federation. And my first touch with Brazil actually was when I was working in the World Championship in 2007 that took place. And after that, later in 2013, and with the Olympic Games, in the Judo Federation, I was very lucky to have the opportunity to work next to the president of the federation, responsible for a lot of different segments and activities. So at the beginning, it was from office tasks, of course, working in the organization. Then it became a media job, selling TV rights around the world, producing a TV signal, organizing events, organizing different programs, activations, activities, sponsorships. The broadcasting is the most interesting because the traditional broadcasting, if anyone's interested in TV, the linear broadcasting was always the big thing for all the sporting events to generate viewership for sponsors to support sports. With esports, we're in an environment where OTT is the one because you're reaching the target demographic, the client directly knowing who they are and how to speak to them. And there's no more cheating. There's no more, there were TVs on or off in different places. It's very clear. The reports of OTT are very direct and specific to tell you who is watching and how. So preparing a good broadcast, making it fun for the people, adding good commentary, adding interesting people, doing backstories. The more that you know the story of the person that you're watching, the more interesting it's going to be for the person watching that I know that that athlete had this struggle in his life. And I think that in the, let's say, traditional sports, and in all the sports, we're missing some of the backstory because we're too busy. We don't have enough hours in the day. You know, you have one free hour, you decide to play a game or watch a show or sleep for the 1 hour you get in the night.
Yeah.
You need to slowly convert people to give them an understanding of what they need to watch that gives them joy and happiness and how they can enjoy it. Because you have in every element, you have two sides, right? So you have the athletes participating. And on the other side, you have the interesting side of who are the fans that are interested to watch. And for this to happen at the highest level, it's art. It's literally the most beautiful thing to put together an event that's being consumed and enjoyed by fans, who are then causing viewership, that causes sponsorship to be able to support the prize money, the flying, and the competition itself to be at the next highest level. And you grow step by step, piece by piece, as we grew from the International Federation.
Right. And after the Judo Federation, what caught your attention in esports? How it was turning a career for you?
I was living in Lausanne, Switzerland. I was director general of an organization called Sport Accord. And Sport Accord was the union of all the international federations, from FIFA to fishing and everything in between. So it was my first touch with international federations. Now, remember, I was a gamer as a kid, right? Carrying those heavy monitors. So I've always loved these sports. And at that particular time, the International Esports Federation, which is founded in 2008, so it's a long time ago for esports sense, was applying to be a member of Sport Accord as an international federation. So I had my first touch with them there. And after a while, they invited me to come to a congress in Shanghai where I was talking about the topic of recognition. This is a big topic, right? So should esports be recognized by the Olympic movement or should it not? Should it be anything to do with the rings or should it not? And the polls are different. I'm sure we're going to have some, conversation about that in a second. But I went back to the International Esports Federation to help them to make this job, to make them understand how to apply and be recognized in international sport. In the meantime, they asked me if I can help to establish the United States Esports Federation. So I put together my business friends and the esports community, and we founded United States Esports Federation. We were accepted in the International Federation. Then I became board member, then vice president, and then president of the International Federation. But the motivation was something that, it's very interesting. My motivation wasn't to see esports as a responsibility or a job. I do it because I feel with the knowledge and the things that I've learned throughout my entire, let's say, career and life, I'm able to support and represent this community in a way that I can speak the official sport language, but I also speak esport language.
Yeah.
And one thing that bothered me very, very much is that the traditional sports look down on the esports. Like that it's not sport, it's lazy people, they have no drive. It's bothering me because it's not fair and it's not in line with the reality of the numbers. The esports community needs to be respected and appreciated and valued and supported, should be welcomed into any international fora. And this is something that I fight for every day. And this is the reason why I took this step.
You said something that it's really interesting, that you had like the opportunity to work in traditional sports like judo, and now you are working in a esports federation. Uh, when you joined the US board team, what was the oh my god, let me say if I can say correctly, similarity, and what was the biggest difference that you see like in that time?
Um, I'm going to answer you in a non-conventional way,
Don't
maybe.
worry.
So the traditional sports and esports. First of all, it's so nice to see the similarities. You have people that are passionate, that love what they do, that fight and train and compete and win and lose and have total passion for what they're doing. And I see this in the traditional sport. I've lived it in the traditional sport, from the athletes themselves to the administrators organizing events. The passion is similar between the two. What's different is that our esports community is very young and dynamic and doesn't have that experience yet. What is profitability? How do you make an event? How do you judge that in a way that I also need to be physically fit or mentally apt? From the missing on the traditional sports side, the esport guys are technically geniuses. They know how to. I mean, this setting up an esport event. I mean, what's the technology to put tatami down on the floor, or to organize, synchronize the right network infrastructure, the right power usage, the graphics design for the stadium, for the stages, the technology that is used to organize a esports tournament has to be, not it has to be, is a whole lot more complex than any sporting event. So between the two, the similarity is passionate people that love what they do. And that's why I feel the two can work together so closely, hand in hand, with common respect, caring about each other, understanding each other, and learning from each other. Traditional sport can learn from the esports everything about engaging the youth, social media activations, media day, how nice graphics we create, how to reach the target audience directly, using the OTT platforms. There's so many cool things that the traditional sports can upgrade with, and gamification. On the other side, our community needs to learn those values of friendship and respect. We need to upgrade ourselves to understanding how is the government working? What is the Ministry of Sport doing? Who are the people? What's the Olympic Committee doing? How is the traditional, let's say, exchange of power, financing, and support that should be given for esports? Because remember that esports has survived until today and grown from today purely on the passion of some crazy people that have been doing crazy things, like you with your
Mhm.
podcast.
Right.
The traditional sports have been receiving support from their ministries of sport, from their governments, from their Olympic committees to undergo their activity. So both have good and bad, right? So when you're esports and you're self-financing and you're making events, you need to find ways to leverage and generate more revenue and to support the event and grow the event. When you start receiving support from your government to support your activity, you get a little slower. You don't innovate as quickly. And of course, that's why I truly believe that the link between the traditional sport and the esport can be mutually beneficial. Traditional sport needs to learn from esport how to reach that young community. And of course, esport needs to learn how the system is working and the values and how to teach those values to our community. Because we're a little crazy, right? The esports community is young, dynamic, and has different ideologies, different shopping culture, different culture entirely. It's a beautiful community. But some of the values that the traditional sport can teach can help us to develop ourselves and grow up as human beings.
I have a question that maybe can be stupid, but because you have like these two, how can I say, these two careers, like with esports and traditional sports, I would like to ask. Uh, I see myself, especially, it happens to me because, for example, in Brazil, you have a culture of soccer. I usually to say that Brazilian doesn't have culture about esports. It's just soccer. Wherever you put like in the channel, in the TV, it's soccer. So, and I really like esports in general. Like I like NHL, NFL, NBA. I like esports in general. And some of these games, like for example, NFL, NBA, NHL, I learned the rules of the game playing because I play
Playing
like
the game.
NHL. Yes, playing the game, like not playing like physical one, but the video game one. What do you think about that? Maybe one day esports can be a setting or a feature to help students to learn how to play these games, rules, and everything.
Absolutely agree with you on that. And there are some federations that do very good job. So if you take, for example, FIBA from basketball,
Right.
they are pro. They have several games that they work with. They do the esports leagues, the esports championships, and they have their event as well. There are sports that are very lucky. I don't need to mention the football because you know very well
Right.
the eFootball or the EAFC or the new FIFA game, whatever will come from Konami. We will see when it's coming, or whatever football games. You see kids that are walking down the street who haven't touched the football but know the full team composition of Real Madrid or of whatever team it is. So the game is a great marketing mechanism to get people interested and involved into actually understanding the sport. But here's the problem. Not all sports have good games. Although the international federations would love to enter esports, that's where we work together. That's where we can help to come together. So with the International Automobile Federation, e-racing, eSIM, we're talking to include it in the World Championship to help the kids to participate in both. With the football, I'm, let's say, one of the people that launched the e-football league for EAFC in Romania. Last year was season 1, this year was season 2. All the professional football teams have professional football clubs. It's called eSuperliga. That league took all of the FIFA community, because then was called FIFA before they took it away. That's the traditional way that many people still talk about EAFC as FIFA, because that's what we say. We took the community that was sitting on a couch playing the game to actually having live events, to actually participating, to actually wear the jersey of the Romanian First League teams and represent the teams. So it's developing well. The issue you have is the game, because of technology, can teach you a game till a certain point, theoretically. And after that, you need steps to reach the actual playing of the real game, because it's scary to touch people. So I like to refer to these as, let's do football, because it's very easy.
Right.
Football, you play the game on a controller. From that, what's the first skill you need to learn in football? Running or walking fastly, right? Forget the ball for a second. So
No, I know.
playing on a controller. Next, you need to develop your body so that you can run 5K, 10K. After you develop alone by yourself your physical ability to be able to move, well, then you go, before you go to the big football, you go to games where you use a ball. So they have these really cool digital walls that show you the target, and you try to kick a football to the wall. At our World Championship, we put one up. We're going to continue that. So I learned myself alone without anybody. Now that I can run, I learn how to hit the ball. So I can practice passing, practice shooting. Then we go to small field games, 3-on-3, 5-on-5, mini futsal. Then we can move to the big one. And the pipe, the pipe is going from a lot of people play online. We need to work with the federations and with our community to make the kids progress step by step. Because maybe they're going to love to play football in real life, but it's going to take steps, because it's scary for me to go from sitting somewhere playing on a controller to playing with 10 other people on a field on my team to communicate, to work together, when before I was playing alone. I think we can do it, and I think with technology evolving in the future, this will go forward. This is a big mistake that, let's say, when the Olympic Esport Games idea came to be, the first concept was thinking that esports was virtual cycling or virtual rowing. In Brazil, you have now the virtual series with cycling and rowing and running, the virtual triathlon, arena triathlon. But those aren't the people that are doing esports. Those are the people who are cycling in real life, that cycle in the winter on their balcony.
Right.
So this whole pipeline has to be filled. How to take a gamer who's playing esports through a game, to learn about the game, to get interested in the game, to start moving, get physically fit, learn the physical techniques, and then apply what they know from the game to the actual game. The last point I want to make is, the games of the future, probably, the digital community. They're trying to do this by saying in the game of football we play 50% small field soccer, and 50% we play whatever game they're playing. I don't know what they're playing this year. Next event is in Astana at the beginning of August. But that's a nice target. Big prize money. They do basketball. They're trying MMA. They're trying shooters. So CS 50%, laser tag 50%.
Nice.
And this is a nice way to see that the future big champions of sport can do both aspects and motivate, of course, the youth to try both aspects.
It's nice, Andy. You said something that I really agree. It's like esports could be like a tool for you teach or introduce like traditional sports in our life. I used to say that I imagine that in the whole world, but in Brazil, especially Formula One that you said, I am not really fan, but I love to ride a kart. Is correct? I don't know if it's correct. The
Yes,
small kart,
karting.
karting. But it's really expensive here. So maybe it can be a tool for me play in a Formula One online, and maybe one day I get. Of course, for me, I'm really old now. But like, imagine that I was 14 years old and I discovered that I'm really good, but if I didn't play in the video game, I couldn't have this opportunity because it's a sport that it's really expensive in Brazil.
You can see that they do it very well. I mean, the car is a great example, right? You have the simulator that's so close to the reality. We're introducing now
The
the drone
professional one
racing.
plays, no? If I'm not crazy,
All
the
the
Formula One
professional guys,
plays.
Verstappen, in the Budapest Grand Prix for driving, in the night after the qualification, he played in the
Yeah.
series for the sim, for F1 sim. So it's a great thing to do that transition, and it's a great opportunity for the kid to use a simulator to learn something not so expensive, big accessibility, and then you can identify the talent who can move on to the next step. I know that we have some simulators also here in our office, and there are big simulator centers around the world. There was some movie, Need for Speed, that was trying to show that kind of thing as well. For sure, I think that the gaming can be a great way to attract the kids, to make them mobile, and to find the way that they can actually compete in the real version of the sport. It's not going to be so different in the future when they inject in you the game and you feel like you're there.
Nice, nice. And in your opinion, why and how much important is to create educational programs? Uh, I have to do like my homework, of course. Some programs like you did like the Armor One, right? In the US.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit more about what was that, and in your opinion, how important are programs like that?
When I started in the esports originally, esports was considered competitive gaming. So it was just the elite of the elite. In my opinion, responsible gaming means esports. So when you are doing, let's say, an activity, you need to have the right tools to understand how to be stronger in that activity and in life. I'm happy to tell you that in the IESF, in the International Esports Federation, at the beginning of July, we're launching the IESF Academy. And the first course is called Certified Gamer, which is a 7-module course that any kid can do on this earth from anywhere for free. And they can learn there in the 7 modules about nutrition and physical aptitude and psychology behind gaming and gameplay and how to be better, training, timing, a lot of different elements to help them. I think that esports, I mean, we're talking about, if you ask AI today, how many people are gaming, it's going to give you a number between 3 and 4 billion people. It's a lot of people. And you don't need anyone to do it. You just open your phone and download the game and you're in, or the computer or the console. So there are certain elements when lack of a coach who can help you in life, because a coach in martial arts, we call them sensei. It's your instructor, it's your teacher. When you're missing this instructor because you're actively gaming on your own with devices and participating, then that's a big problem because you don't have that extra information. So like Armor On in the US, we want to do it at the international level now. To do that, everyone who's gaming, we're going to run you through a very easy 7-module course, 15 minutes of module, cool video. You watch the video. And after that, you will have some of these tools to help you game better, be a better gamer, and be a better person and learn how to take care of your body and your mind at the same time. It's very important to me because I feel that our community is lacking by the way that people enter the gaming environment. These tools that a coach will tell you, hey man, stretch before you go running. So with the academy, we plan to release in cooperation with international sport federations as well. What's the right stretching you should do for gaming? I mean, you sit in a seat for hours and hours. You should do some warm up so that you don't get problems with arthritis later in your life. You should do between games some push-ups or something to hype up yourself rather than drink a Red Bull. You should, after gameplay, your eyes concentration, looking at a screen. There are a lot of different small techniques that make you a better gamer and that make you feel more healthy and that make you a better person. So this is something it's very, very dear to me. And I mean, that's the reason why, to be honest, I feel, and I went back to the International Federation, I really want to give these tools and this possibility and activation to all the gamers of the world to be better. After they finish in the academy, we're going to do courses for how do you set up a network? How do you become a caster? How do you become a coach? How do you become a team manager? How do you become an event organizer? How do you share on social media stuff? Because gaming gives you all these skills. So by gaming, you're socializing. A parent looks at you and sees you with your headphones on in your room, and they think that you're antisocial. They don't know that you're talking to 99 other people because you're playing a game in 20 different languages, sometimes good, sometimes bad, of course. Yeah. But they see it as antisocial. So this education process for me just means armoring our community. Like the samurai were putting on the armor before the war, I feel like we need to put armor on anyone who's gaming to make him a better gamer and to make him a better person.
Perfect. And in 2020, you started as a president of IESF, right? What
Yes.
I have two questions in one. What motivated you to leave like US and start in this opportunity? And what were your priorities when you started that? Like your planning when you started?
It's a very interesting question, because it always links to the question of what is like my happiest moment or biggest achievement in esports. And I'm going to start with that first before I answer your motivation for the first thing, because they're linked together, right?
Right.
My dream was always that our community of esports didn't reach the level where we can thank and can support the athletes and all the gamers enough to give them good content and give them the good respect and education in terms of values and direction for the jobs they will do in the future. The reason I got involved in international esports is because I love this community. I'm a member of this community. I grew up in this community. And I feel like everything we do is always athlete oriented, gamer oriented. We need to help the gamers to receive prize money and good accommodation and good conditions and the best computers to game with, to make a good competition, to bring people from last World Championship was 100 and plus 100 countries. Next World Championship, I hope, will be 150 something countries, as we have today 152 members. So my motivation was the work and the skills that I learned in traditional sports in all these years of working inside of the sport movement to apply to professionalize our esports community and to upgrade all the conditions and all the possibilities for them. And the result was the World Championship growing step by step, because the World Championship for me is a festival celebrating diversity and culture of our community. And we're a little crazy. Different kinds of dress attires, different kinds of ideas, different kinds of definitions of life and how it should be. I feel that the most important thing was in the 2023 Yash World Championships. We had in the closing ceremony 3 days of concerts on an ultra stage. Armin van Buren was playing, and we had the national team of Netherlands, who won CSGO women's division, on stage with him, with their trophy. So to see that from a distance, that we can have the esports best women's CSGO team that won the championship, together with a personality like Armin van Buren, together, it makes it all worth it.
Nice. And you started in 2020, and everyone knows that it was like a hard time for the world in the pandemic. How hard was that for you? Because I imagine that you had some plans and the pandemic start, you have to change your plans. How was that?
I think we learned a lot from the pandemic, and actually, we reached a new version of the World Championship because of it. So we had the World Championship in 2019 planned that couldn't take place, so we moved it to 2020. And the way to do something in 19, we said, well, wait a second, we're esports, so that means we can qualify online because we're lucky. We don't need the people to be team next to team, face to face, and travel. And that opened up the door to understand that actually the World Championship now is like a 4-month event because it starts in the countries in the national qualifiers. So in several countries, you have hundreds of thousands of people from the community that are trying to qualify for a national team, to hold the flag up and to represent the national team. And that's what we learned in the pandemic. We learned that the online qualification free through all the countries for all the game titles reaches that the national team is really proud when they go to the continental finals and then finally to the World Championship, bringing the best of the best live together. We learned from the pandemic a lot. We're very lucky that it was esport, but I'd love to just add one more little elixir because I really believe that during this time of pandemic, I mean, you felt it. We all felt it. We were very socially dismantled, and we were put into a vase of capsulation where we couldn't talk to people and interact with people. And on our psyche as humans, we need people. We need to talk to people. We need to socialize with people. Well, gaming is the one that brought that possibility, because I have a lot of friends of mine I couldn't see face to face. So at nighttime, what do? You get together, you play a game together, you socialize. I really believe esports and gaming brought the humanity a little more happiness in that time of isolation than we would have had without it.
Ah, and after you joined in 2020, we could see like a big change, like one significantly expansion of international esports. In your opinion, uh, what made it possible? How was the planning? How was the execution of the planning?
Um, I am a person that is driven and motivated only by passion and the target, and I love that. So for me, sports, I don't have a business out of esports. I don't generate revenue. I take no salary. I don't take flights or anything like that for the esports activity. Until this day, nothing. I don't plan to ever make this a job where I'm working for something. I prefer this to always be a job where I'm working for people's best interests. And I think that in the team that was there with our general secretary Boban and with all of the board and the administration, we understood that we need to do something for our community because we have a lot of people all around the world that want to be somehow structured in a way where they can compete, have fun, be responsible, and socialize with everybody around them. And it was the motivation of giving that benefit that made us to upgrade our activity, our number of national federations, to always provide a benefit for the national federations, to always give something back to the community. Step by step, hard work. I don't know how to sleep because I've been gaming as a kid. So it was quite easy to dedicate full energy and effort with a strong team around me who have similar objectives and principles to always push and push because we deserve it. We deserve this recognition. We deserve to be part of the entire sport family. And our job is to always give back to the family only the best of us and the best we can deliver. And I believe that we're working for that. I stepped away thinking and hoping that esports would go to the next level. I came back in the sense that I want to take it to the end. I would like for esports to be respected, to be on the same playing field, and to provide opportunities for all of the teams, all of the athletes to really thrive and to do something great with their lives and with their pastime.
And you said something before that now it's time to talk about like you were a lot of crazy people in esports, and I agree. Like we started as a friends, and now most of these friends they have some companies and everything. And I'm going to ask a question not about, but because of my mind in Brazil, but I think in the whole world is kind of similar. Federation in esports is something really new. I don't know in the other countries, but in Brazil, it's something really new. Federation. Uh, in your opinion, of course, we are going to say good things because we are part of one. But how important are federations for esports? Because everything, especially in Brazil, how can I say that in a good way? When you think about federation, you think about government, and government you think about like bad things in Brazil. You have like some bad ideas about government. And how important, in your opinion, national federations are to the future of sports?
It's a very good question. Why do we need a structure? Why do we need a national federation in every country? This has been the model in the last many years of all the sports, from FIFA, Olympic ones, and the non Olympic ones, and everything in between. That the world is structured in a way from an international federation to continental unions and to national federations. The job of the national federation is to support the activity in the country. And that means to generate funds, to make the rules of the game, to organize events, and to give a clear structure to all of the people who are gaming. And the people in the country, of course, you have the National Olympic Committee in the country that's doing the Olympic sports. You have some other committees depending on the country, whether it be Ministry of Sport or a different organization for non-Olympic sports. But in the country, what gives you the benefit of having the national body is that they're the ones who can communicate with governmental levels for sponsorships, for financing, and for the benefits of all the people that are gaming. Brazil is a very unique case. You have in Brazil different federations. You have the Olympic Committee that now is concentrating on the virtual sports mainly. The job of the International Federation is to support the activity in the country. The job of the country federation is to support in the localized language and work frame all the gamers in that country. And I hope that together we can work to find the right solution for supporting all the people in the countries. I know that in Brazil, I know Daniel Cosi has been there for a long time with CBDEL organizing the event. You have lots of activity recognized by Ministry of Sport, doing things how they can do the things. Who was a member and is a member of the IESF also. You have Leo Fontes, which is working his way to work with other people and to try to do his activity. You have the Olympic Committee, which is working towards virtual sports because they see the link with traditional sports the most and getting people healthy. You really need to have these people to represent your community where it matters most, and that is with the Brazilian government. And you said, right, so you said how you feel. We feel that we don't know why we need to have such a federation, but the federation's job is to organize events, to support the athletes, and to participate in the international events, to give that recognition, to yield the national team. And I really hope that there is a way in the country, because this is something that's really interesting. The governments in the past have always, let's say 10 years ago, when the topic of esports came up, all the politicians and the government people didn't understand what it was, didn't want to be involved, or understood maybe what it is. The sport federations thought, oh, the esports is stealing our athletes. So because there's esports, now I won't have as many athletes. And I don't want to share my pie with the esports because they're taking our athletes. That is further than the truth can ever be. So everyone is gaming. Everyone is playing. There's no taking of athletes. The NBA players in the weekends and the night times are playing NBA 2K amongst themselves and their friends. So is the football. So is all the other sportsmen. This is a very bad traditionalist view that there is a competition. There's no competition. The people who are identified in the country to represent create the national team for international events, create national events for the benefit of all the community, and communicate with the institutions are the people that represent you and that represent your interests and that should always fight for more support financially, more support psychologically, and through different authorities to organize these nice big events.
Got it. And like trying to do a hook with what you said. Do you have any idea how do you expect it to be like sports and traditional sports relationship in the further years? Do you have some
It's got to
plans
be
to?
good. Absolutely. It's got to be good. We're working already now with several international federations to find this connection. Because you mentioned it before. You said, can esports help kids to go into sports?
Yes.
Absolutely. And let me say, it's the last chance that there is to attract new people to do traditional sports because that is where the youth play today. And it's not so easy to do an esport, but it's a lot more difficult to do a traditional sport. So, for sure, there must be a collaboration and there must be an understanding because ultimately, if these two sides can work together and can respect each other, it's only benefit for the traditional sports organizations, benefit for the esports, sharing values, communicating on a base of mutual respect and friendship is going to open the door for our community to become more professionalized, more serious, and to ultimately give more opportunities to everyone who's gaming to have fun and to exercise the activity.
And talking about that and talking about like you are, if I'm not crazy, you have more than 130 federations in ESF. Uh, how important you feel that developing countries plays in this future? Because now I'm seeing like in a good way, of course, developing countries like Africa, especially Brazil too, like improving and developing much better the sports. How important these developing countries are in this community?
At the moment, we have 151 national
51.
federations around the world. And the number when I started was around 50 to 60.
Oh my God.
So very fast it's been growing up. The question that you're asking is very important. And it's something very unique to esports, right? So if you're not born 2 meters tall, you're not going to play or be successful at basketball because you can't. If you're in a wheelchair, you're not going to be successful at the traditional sport. In esport, your physical your physical situation, your gender, your background, your culture, your historical roots, your religion, your any aspect of the cultural foundation that you get when you're born has no effect on what you can achieve. You're not limited by your physical qualities in esport. So when you ask me about the developing countries, technology has been the limiting reagent, meaning that in Africa, the you want to host an online tournament in Europe. Guess what? One European server, all 50 countries are connected.
Yes.
Everyone's done. Low latency. Everyone's happy. In Africa, you need to have in the middle one server of Africa, in the north one server, in the south one. I mean, the number today, because of technology, you need 10 servers around the world to be able to have a truly global event, but you're still limited in those 10 areas. Then, of course, the devices. It's very hard. I remember a funny joke with the president of the Kazakhstan Esports Federation. His team was winning in PUBG Mobile, the World
Right.
Championship. And I told him, "Congratulations! How is it?" He says, "It's very easy. We have terrible latency in our country. They're used to playing when they got on these devices. Pwah! It was incredible. It reminds me of Goku in Dragon Ball Z. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
high gravity. When you get into the real world, you can
Good.
fly." So to answer your question with not so many funny elixirs, it's only going to get better. And I think that with technology emerging, with maybe Elon Musk's Starlink connecting the people more closely, although I know technologically, because I've tried to figure it out, it's not going to be possible since the distance between Earth and space is a lot further than through traditional fiber cables. But whatever is the technology, I'm sure that with gaming, we're going to reach a point where all the world will have access. And mobile gaming is a very good example because in mobile games, what do you need to participate? What do you need to play? You need a mobile device. How accessible 20 years ago, if you look at the numbers of how many people had smartphones in the world or in Brazil or in certain countries versus today, you'll be shocked that more people have smartphones than people there are. More people have smartphones, I mean, in the sense that some people have two.
Right.
So to answer your questions, these emerging markets, they're going to grow. But everywhere you need to have a strong national federation that can foster this growth. One of the oldest federation is Mind Sports South Africa. Mind Sports South Africa is huge. It's organizing big events, is doing good things. The president, Colin Webster, who is there, has been working on this a long time, and he led the development. Maybe without him, the esports would not be there in the country, in the region, globally. He used to be also an IESF president. I think that all the emerging countries in Africa, in Pan America, they're going to be serious contenders because of the first thing, because there's no limit to how good you can be. No matter what your cultural or historic birth physical aspect is, there is no limit to what you can become. And this is very clear. I can tell you in the World Championships in Elat that you mentioned in 2020, in 2021 after the
Right.
COVID. So it's 2020, 2021. We had the total number of medals was 15, 3 times 5. So
Right.
15 medals. And 15 countries won the 15 medals, which is crazy. Tell me what other sport in the world
Impossible.
15 countries win the 15 medals. It's unheard of. It doesn't exist. So big steam ahead, big potential ahead.
Yes, and you are going to like the last part, like almost 10 last minutes. I'd like to talk to you about plans and everything. Keep talking about improvement. At least in Brazil, I see that, for example, the women scene is not that big. They complain a lot. I have worked with them for a long time. Do you have plans to help the women and inclusion? I think it's correct, inclusion scene.
It's a very important topic to me and to all of our team. Um, the last thing that I said, you remember, I said there's no physical stopness from becoming great,
Yes.
right? But yet, in some games, we see only men are winning in CS, for example. We figured out, or we thought, or we think that for a short period, we need to make women only divisions to motivate them to participate, to motivate them to excel. Because if we have the women only division, as we have in the World Championship for CS and for MLBB, we have a woman only division as well. In the big division, can be anyone. By fostering that community, making them ready to play at that level, creating a safe environment for them through the educational part, because some women maybe are afraid sometimes to be great or to play great because of the repercussions and the feedback on the chat during gameplay. It's very important to welcome them to our community. If you look at the number of gamers in many countries regarding demographics, I was shocked to find out that it's between 52, 55% men and the rest are women. So why don't we see them on the international scene as the best FIFA player to be a woman? I think it's going to take time to create that environment and to let them excel there.
You said something really interesting because I'm doing a post graduation in data, and next, like in 3 days, I'm going to make a speech about my final project, and of course, my final project is about esports. And there is a search in Brazil. The name is PGB. I don't know if you know this one. It's about everything about gaming. Wherever you imagine, there is a data about that. And I I got like really surprised because in Brazil, 51% of the gamers are women. Are
Yeah,
women.
it's incredible, right?
Yeah, and I say, and the other thing that I don't understand is because at least for me, my wife's a doctor, and there is a lot of science ideas that women they have like more facilities, more it's easier for women do a lot of things at the same time. So I think if we have opportunity to make it then play in a good environment and everything, they are going to be better than us because they are more competitive. They have like a lot of ability that men doesn't have. It's much more about opportunities and toxicity that because like you said, I agree.
Exactly. You're absolutely right about that. The numbers are crazy. They're playing there. And you're right, it's dangerous. Women will beat us one day, and currently soon they're better at multitasking than men are. They have a lot of this fight in them to fight and to win, motivation, safe environment. That's why we started the women only divisions. Because like that, slowly, step by step, I am sure that in a couple of years' time, you're going to see the two divisions playing the super final. Who is better?
It's going to be really nice. I would love to watch that. I would love to watch
Yeah,
that.
for sure. And you know what the best part of it is? The best part of it is that it's the only sport in the world where that can happen.
Yes.
There's no other sport where men and women can compete against each other except for esports. Sure, you can argue maybe chess or maybe other sports, but the reality is there's no physical limitation. So this is a big study that takes care for the future, but I'm really, really excited for the day that we will see more women professional players and that we will see them dominate the scene. And I think they can. I'm sure they can. And we're doing our best to create those environments to stop the toxicity as much as possible and to elevate them to be proud and safe in their activity.
I agree. I 100% agree. And unfortunately, you are going to our last question. And I told you the question before, but I will change just a little bit because I think it makes
Change
more
it
sense.
all. Forget the
Yeah,
last question. Ask me anything you want.
no. The question is the same, but I'm going to change because I think it's people who is going to add, and the shortcuts is going to be better, especially because you are the president of the International Federation. Usually, you will ask some advices for someone who wants to start in esports. In your case, I'm going to change for what advice you give for countries who want to develop esports scenes there.
It's a very good question. For the countries who want to develop the scene, you need to protect the players. They're the most important people. The players are the ones that need the respect, the financing, and the guidance to live their life in the right way. The players are the people that we need to make sure have the best conditions to compete, that have fun, and then are prepared for the transition into their professional life. The players are the key, and all players deserve strong representation, strong national federation, and the opportunity to participate and compete, to grow and to develop. Players, if you start there, you cannot go wrong. Everything else falls into place. As in most people that are successful, the money opportunity in the end is never the target for the most successful people. The target needs to be to do something good and to influence a good change. And when you can see that the players are happy and the community will be happy watching them play and hearing their comments, and you're training and educating them, you start to have heroes. And these heroes that you're working on, these heroes are going to then send the message and magnify the message that you want to be sent to continue developing our family of esports, our community of esports to the next level. Concentrate on the players. They're the key. The players need to have fun and through their activity be supported to professionally deliver later in their life with the skills that they learn in esport, empowered by the values and the tools that we give them now.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. It was amazing. Vlad, thank you very much for your time. It was like a pleasure having you here. Uh, in these final minutes, we give you like some minutes if you want to say something, where they can find you, a project that you want to explain.
For me, I just want to say, honestly, Marcelo, I'm happy that you started this activity. I think that what you're doing is very important. I hope people find the time to really go through some of your content and to share, because all we need is network. All we need is to share, to game together, to live in a happy place together, and to respect each other. This is the only thing. From our federation, we will keep fighting for the players. We will keep fighting to hold big events, to be recognized by the international sports sphere. Bless you. And and we are here for you, because in the end, we are one family. So thank you for your hard work. I hope that the podcast keeps on in the right direction. I'm honored to be here to share some ideas, and we look forward to seeing you sometime soon, hopefully also in Brazil for some nice events.
Yes, just let me know when you come here or when I'm going to outside, I let you know. So thank you
Yes.
very much, Vlad. Thank you very much, everyone. It's one more episode of Sports 101, and see you next week.
Obrigado. Bye
Obrigado.
bye.